Hey everyone, Arius Comics here. So today we're gonna do Emerald Dawn Part 2. This takes place in between two of the last pages of Emerald Dawn 1. So when Hal Jordan goes to prison towards the end of it, and then like a page later he gets out, this explores what happens in between those pages because he's supposed to be in for quite a while. Um, so we see here Hal Jordan talking to Carol Ferris, and he just talking about how he expected his sentence to be a lot um, lower than what it ended up being, and that's kind of weird because he's only in for 90 days, but I mean it's in max security, but still 90 days for like drunk driving and paralyzing someone. That seems way too low. Like it should be like in the order of years. But anyway, that's the sentence he got, and he's kind of mad about it because he just threw himself at the mercy of the court instead of like lawyering up and trying to weasel something better in his view. But in my view, you should like no matter what you're in court for, you should basically lawyer up almost anything. Um, so he just talking about this, and Carol Ferris is kind of supportive of him because he's showing remorse and he's kind of like a change man, which is very different from the Hal Jordan she used to know. And this cop here is kind of being a jerk to him for no reason. I mean, he's a jerk because he knows Hal Jordan is a drunk driver, but still. This is the cover, Emerald Dawn Part 2, number 1. Pretty good cover, if I'm honest. So here um, he changes facilities because he was in jail. Now he goes to prison, and he overhears something on the police radio. So he makes like a hard construct of himself and just slips in the suit, and then he goes to catch the bad guys, and then he's back in and he's talking with this caseworker, which is supposed to be Guy Gardner, which is another Green Lantern. Everyone says he's a jerk. I mean, I don't know why. I just read one of the editorial pages, the one with the letters and everything. I think at the conclusion of Emerald Dawn 1, and that's what everyone was saying, that he's a jerk. Um, so he kind of wants to help him. Then we move to Sinestro, who's going back to his home planet Korga, and then his people are kind of afraid of him, and everyone kind of starts playing the anthem, and it's a big celebration. And then he's teleported to Oa, where he's given the mission of training Hal Jordan. The Guardians have a little chat about Hal Jordan, how he's very powerful, how he entered the Green Lantern, the Central Green Lantern battery, and came back as like pure Green Lantern energy, and nobody was supposed to like even survive that. But he kind of controlled that power and saved the day in Emerald Dawn 1, and now they're just wondering what to do with him because he has so much potential, but then again, he's not really that trained up. And they sent Sinestro because Sinestro is the most orderly, like his sector is the most orderly in all of the Green Lantern sectors, and um, Sinestro doesn't really like it because he really likes to be on top of things. But then again, he kind of sees this as recognition from the Guardians, and then he goes to Hal Jordan's prison cell and kind of says, "Well, I suppose the Guardians didn't know what they were doing. This place of yours is simply out of control." The joke being that Sinestro assumes this is actually where Hal Jordan lives, out of his own volition. Um, they then gone on this diplomatic mission, which is trying to convince three leaders of three alien races not to form this monopoly, which would basically monopolize all of this commercial trading routes. And these guys here in the lower right bottom half corner is the three guys. One, like, they're not very important, but one of them kind of will play a role for a bit in future pages, and then Hal Jordan basically beats them up, and Sinestro's kind of impressed at some point because he put up a good fight even though he wasn't really supposed to beat them. So he's going back and he's meeting this guy, which is his prison cell mate, and he's gonna have this whole subplot, which I found kind of boring to be honest. So this guy is supposed to be like a master escape artist, and his plot involves him seeing the Green Lantern ring and kind of finding out about the whole Green Lantern thing, and then him wanting to use it to escape, and then some other prisoners kind of get word of that, and they kind of like fight with him over that. It's a pretty boring subplot if you ask me, and this is Sinestro coming back, and there's a situation on Korgar, which is Sinestro's home planet, and he fears for the worst, and he doesn't really know what's happening. So Sinestro kind of sees his people as children that need to be watched and need to obey and need to kind of be kept in order, because if they're left to their own choices, I guess, they just create chaos, which is like what Sinestro hates most. It's a very cool cover with Sinestro, beware my power, human, and prepare to die, and Hal kind of looking goofy there in the background. So this is how Sinestro planet looks. Kind of looks like Nazi Germany, which is kind of what Sinestro is supposed to invoke by his look, because he has a little mustache and everything. And it's deserted, but it's actually an ambush for the Green Lanterns, because these people haven't really known a Green Lantern other than Sinestro, and they kind of hate all of them since they assume they're tyrannical. And Hal Jordan kind of puts up a good fight again, but Sinestro starts killing him. So they kind of get the upper hand, and this is a very cool cover. Like Hal Jordan kind of crucified over the one of the ripped Sinestro flags. It actually looks cool, and this whole comic he kept calling Sinestro Sin, and he kind of hated him, and they kind of have an argument about if it's mind control, which was what Sinestro believed at first, was supposed to believe. We're supposed to believe that's what he thought, and they're kind of having a fight between the two of them. So Sinestro is this very weirdly obsessed with order guy, and Hal Jordan doesn't really know what to think, because as we've seen in Emerald Dawn 1, he doesn't really fully trust the Guardians yet, and now he forced Sinestro that he called the other Green Lanterns, because that's what he thought the situation demanded, and Sinestro's not really having that, because he kind of sees how the other Guardians might perceive this whole situation, like him being like a tyrant, which is what he's afraid. But he convinces Hal Jordan it's actually just how they might be perceived, because he kind of implicates Hal Jordan in this, even though Hal Jordan didn't really know this wasn't how the Green Lantern Corps was supposed to operate. He's kind of new, so he gets kind of that pass. And then they come. This is a very cool scene when Kilowog and Tomare and everyone comes. They instantly get attacked. So this woman here, I think Kamai 2 or something like that. We're gonna see her name later. She was Sinestro's favorite, so he kind of have like I think he had kind of like quote unquote Sinestro cores or something like that, which was the best, like the most devoted, and the people who like won the contest, which probably will own the name of Sinestro. And Tomare is like residents of a sector firing on us. Like, what's happening? But they soon find out what's happening. They kind of get this girl, which is the leader of the revolution against Sinestro. So they kind of see the whole planet's engulfed in Sinestro flags and Green Lantern flags, and Um, Tomori says, "I fear Sinestro has extended his authority." Um, and Komai too, I think, and I'm not sure that's her name, but it sounds like her name. What's wrong, tyrants? Are the banners not straight, or do you want your pictures there as well? Again, Sinestro's people actually think this is what Green Lanterns do and act like. And so the Guardians send fists of the Lanterns to hunt down Sinestro and Hal Jordan. Um, Hal Jordan kind of realized he's been missing for 2 days from prison, and he's afraid that the prison warden guards think he just escaped. Sinestro thinks that's a brilliant idea where to hide in from the Green Lanterns, and he can sort this out. And guess what? The fists of the Lantern just come to the prison. In that subplot, there's a big riot happening with this guy whose name I forgot, but he's Hal Jordan's cellmate. And this other guy who kind of just wants to escape, and they kind of steal the ring from him. But Sinestro comes and just takes the ring back because the guy didn't really even know how to use it. Didn't really acknowledge its full power. And Guy Garden that then comes, catches the guy, pulls up a gun on him, but they're interrupted by these giant robots. I mean, they're not really giant, but I mean they're bigger than a human, but they're not really giant. So these cool robots, and they place these Green Lanterns under arrest. Sinestro tries to escape. He gets his ring taken from him and just falls down. And he falls in yellow dust, which again, in this continuity, Green Lanterns are still weak against the color of yellow. Now we have the best part, in my opinion, which is the trial of Sinestro. What happens here is they teleport Hal Jordan to Oa as a witness for Sinestro, and Tomari is kind of playing the prosecutor here, and they just ask Hal Jordan different questions. So Sinestro was like, "Did I not train you, Hal Jordan? Were you not with me when I prevented the lines that might have thrown the galactic political balance in chaos? Did I not teach you to maintain the cosmic order? The importance of it. With every sentence, with every act, did I not stress the need for order?" Hal Jordan is like, "Yes, Sinestro, that's about all of you ever stressed." And then Sinestro was like, "I'm done, mic drop." Then Tomare was like, "When you visited Korugar with Sinestro, how would you describe the relationship with the residents?" "Well, they seem to worship him." And Sinestro's attitude to this asked Tomare, and how is he seemed to expect it, to demand it, but then again the Guardian seemed to expect that as well. And then the Guardians kind of deliberate for a bit, and they reach a decision that they're gonna strip Sinestro of his sector of the Green Lantern ring, and basically banish him in the antimatter universe of Quard. And they decide on, then they need to decide on the new Green Lantern of Section 1417. Oh, it's Katmatui. I was close. So Katmatui, Iltomore proposes her as a new Green Lantern. She says she's not ready, that she couldn't. They ask her, "Well, can you recommend someone more capable than you, more deserving than you?" And then Kilowog is kind of like happy because he gets to put someone in attitude again through training, which is kind of what he did to Hal Jordan. Because Hal Jordan had some attitude, it has to be said. So they kind of join and then send back Hal Jordan to Earth. So this is basically the story on why Sinestro hates Hal Jordan, how they kind of met. He trained Hal Jordan, but then again, Sinestro's kind of crazy, has some powerful dictatorial leanings. So this is the video, guys. If you enjoyed it, please like it. If you have something to say about this miniseries, the Green Lanterns in general, other DC properties, anything you'd like me to cover in the future, please leave a comment and please subscribe to the channel. Thanks. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.